2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Let me know when you're ready. Hey, Wanda, take a picture for me.
Ready? I'm ready. Ready.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome, welcome. This is the fitness representative on Friday. It's 11 a.m. and we are bringing to you today the fitness report. The fitness report brought to you by the fitness representative. Today we have a special topic. All right, it's just me today, so we're going all the way through. Hopefully you guys call in. Hopefully we can answer some questions and get some things going as far as programs, as far as remedies, as far as things that we can do to fight our topic today. Our topic today is obesity. Obesity. Obesity is a huge word. It's the new big O, right? And I'm not talking about Oscar Robertson. I'm not talking about orgasm. I'm talking about obesity. It's the new big O. It's the most important O word going today because it's assisting in taking the lives of so many people, especially our minorities. All right, so today we want to tackle the topic. Today we're going live basically to fight obesity. Right? It's Friday. This is a touchy one because so many people, I'm pretty sure everyone out there has a family member that's overweight or that's out of shape and that can use some time maybe in the gym or away from the table or just changing their lifestyle. I'm pretty sure everyone out there has that situation going within their families. So what we wanted to do today is pretty much touch on how we can change the narrative, how we can change the situation that goes on so much and that's plaguing so much of America, from our youth all the way to our senior citizens and all points in between. We want to tackle obesity in a way that kind of, corporate America is not going to be happy. McDonald's, they might not be happy. But we want to live, we want to live, we want to be able to survive, and if we're going to do so in this world, we gotta address that head on. We gotta address that word head on, and that word, like I said, is obesity. But before we go into it, first I would like to recognize a few people who have, changed their lives through transforming and through putting themselves in better positions to, take care of their families and be more active in their children's lives. First, we want to go with one of our former guests, Tiffany Holmes. She's lost about 200 pounds or more. Take or give a few, and she basically transformed her life. Going from morbidly obese to not yet at a healthy weight, but going definitely towards a healthy weight. Also, I'd like to thank or to recognize Deandra Jackson. Deandra Jackson, who she's a banker. She decided to get herself in shape a couple of years ago, and ever since then she's turned it from from a sedentary lifestyle with back injuries and stuff like that, and different situations that couldn't get her outside when it came time to hang out with her 7-year-old Kennedy. So basically, she changed it around. Start going to the gym. She got herself a trainer, and changed it around. And one of my new clients, Tina Dixon, who's a corporate worker also. She works for corporate America and has a really good position. didn't really live that much of a sedentary lifestyle, but went through a few situations that life brought on that caused her to kind of like lose her way when it came to health and fitness, and she basically changed it around. You know, she's lost over 25 pounds, and she's looking to do more. And you know, I'm happy for these three in particular, amongst all the others. And basically, I want to put people on notice for doing good things, and to recognize those who are on their way also. So for those three, you know, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram TTW Coach for Tiffany Holmes. Instagram Ketice KETIECE for DeAndre Jackson, and Instagram Pet Gets Fit PET_GET_FIT or GETS_FIT. So go look them up. They have some inspiring stories. They have some good knowledge on, you know, as far as beating what we're going to talk about today, which is obesity. All right. Also like to recognize the Fitness Representative Personal Training. For those who want to get in shape, for those who want to change their lifestyles, go see the Fitness Representative. He represents fitness for life, and that number would be 312-857-5668. Go see the Fitness Representative. All right, so now, like I said, we're going to go into obesity today, and what we're going to do now, we're going to go right into it. We're going to spit out some facts, and if I could, like I wanted to say, this is a touchy topic because I come from, you know, for me personally, like I've never dealt with weight loss and weight gain in a drastic measure other than trying to hit the weights and bulk up, or, you know, slim down for basketball or different sports like wrestling and stuff like that. I can't ever say that I had a problem with maintaining my weight either way. So when it comes to obesity, that's not a word that, like, it didn't really hit me as a kid. It didn't really hit me as a teenager or an adult. It never, you know, it just hasn't been in my situation. So upon becoming a fitness professional and becoming a United States Marine, when we got to boot camp, I remember seeing a lot of Marines or recruits come into boot camp, and they were out of shape. They were totally out of shape. The day we got there, you know, they could barely fit this and barely fit that. They really couldn't do what we needed them to do as far, you know, what the military needed from them as far as, you know, running 3 miles and doing the pull-ups and the push-ups and all the things we used to do. So what they did was put them on a meal ration. You know, we all ate a certain amount, which was very little because of because we had no time. You know, they get you in there and get you right out of there before you even taste your food. So, you know, you was just pretty much big on gulping it down. So for the guys who came in that were overweight, you know, now remember, the word obesity, this was 20 years ago, 21 years ago. That word hadn't really took off yet, you know. That word hadn't really made itself so noticeable to where we key in on the one reason that people are out of shape, and to put a word to define how out of shape they are, you know, put a measurement on how much they are out of shape. So back then you were just overweight, and you were just a fat recruit, or you were just out of shape, or you really couldn't dig into why or what the reason was. And it was the same thing for sports. You know, really couldn't go into what was going on as far as you know, terms and definitions used to describe how someone was physically. But then, you know, in the military, we would just work you out, feed you in a systematic way, and watch you lose that weight over time, you know, as you worked out in comparison to how much you ate or how much you sat and did nothing, or, you know, had a sedentary lifestyle. So, you know, last decade or so, this word obesity just took off. And as the world, brought on more video games, brought on more TV shows and more, channels. TV didn't go off at night anymore. We were just talking about that with a friend of mine, how TV used to go off at night. TV doesn't go off anymore, and your phone doesn't have to go off at all if you have it all night. So you really have all this access to the good things and the bad things, which could be, detrimental, seeing that you're sitting and watching them. You're sitting and going back and forth, and you're just looking with your eyes. You're putting your brain in the trance, but you're also giving yourself a situation that's not good when it comes to your physical, appearance. So, obesity, is basically just came on the scene, even though it's been around and the term's been, it's been relevant to society for a long time. Think about it, McDonald's has been around for, 60 years or more? Probably at least 50 to 60 years. And hamburger spots and different restaurants, they've been around for a long time. Fast food's been around for a long time. So I work in the West Loop a lot. They have McDonald's University, Hamburger University. It's basically McDonald's headquarters. It took the spot of where Harpo used to be, which was Oprah's place. And now it's basically about a 10-story building full of offices and full of good, what looks like good McDonald's food. It has a restaurant, it has all these different things, but I mean, it's the food industry, it's the fast food industry that is is a huge part of the reason of what's going on today. So we want to address it, so we're going to go into that word, and maybe you guys can call in and give us some information on how to fight it, So if you're on Facebook Live, the number to call in is 708-223-8953. We are on intellectualradio.com. And once again, this is the Fitness Report radio show brought to you by the Fitness Representative. So, all right, so obesity. We just want to give a little, a few facts on obesity and just, bring it out as far as the terminology and the sources in which we get our information. So, obesity. Obesity is basically defined as an abnormal amount of accumulated body fat or body weight, usually more than 20% over what your ideal weight is for a person your height or your size, And a lot of times in the black community, you'll see that most people, they strive not to be skinny, they strive not to be slim, and they don't look to be like quote unquote white America. But it just so happens to be a huge correlation between wanting to be healthy, which is a word for, which is a better word for kind of like out of shape, out of shape or a little heavier than what America says you should be. So, we like to call it healthy. We want meat on our bones. We want our women to be thick. We want them to have, these voluptuous bodies. We want them to keep the curves. But a lot of people, y'all, and I'll be the first to tell you, and you can take it how you want, but a lot of these women and men are obese. A lot of these men and women are obese. And what we want to do is we want to be able to be around for a long time. So whether you're an athlete, whether you're a professional, whether you're in corporate America, we want you to know the facts when it comes to obesity. We want you to know when you're considered obese. We want you to know how obese you are or aren't, and we want you guys to be clear on the facts that basically are going to keep you within a healthy range as far as your ideal weight, and at least to help out with the body fat percentage just in case you are overweight. Because I'll take myself for example. Right now I'm probably about 5'8". I'm about 195 pounds. I've lost 25 pounds over the last few months just from not going so hard on the weights and stuff. So, I've started to play basketball again and do, a lot of physical activities that probably bring your weight down. So, You take someone like me, I'm considered overweight. And the only way to fight that, which is what we used to go by in the military, that's, once again, hence the name of the show, the fitness report. When we would have our fitness reports, you'd have your height, your weight, your name, and all that stuff on the fitness report. And the fitness report would also have your body fat percentage. And the only way that your weight looked, in good standards, if you were overweight, is if you had a low body fat percentage. Now, the way we used to calculate body fat in the Marine Corps back then, it wasn't the best way. But if that body fat percentage was low, then you were allowed to have, more weight on you. And I've always carried about 180 to 200 pounds with a height that should have been maybe 160, or 170, because the whole point is to not have so much around the middle. But if a lot of that poundage is muscle, then you can kind of get away with it a little bit. So we want to go into the effects that obesity cause. All right, obesity is known to cause illnesses. It's basically the big assist. It's known to cause illnesses. It's known to cause disabilities and even death. You can kind of attach obesity to a lot of different other more prevalent diseases like diabetes, like cancer, like those things that'll get you out of here real fast. When the body's not able to, when the organs inside the body aren't able to have their own space, their free space, they don't work as good as they would if they had that space. So if my heart is being pushed around by the other different the other different organs because I got so much fat going on, it's going to be hard for blood to circulate. And without blood circulation, there's no way that your body's going to function properly. So what we're looking to say is basically that an ideal weight for you, and you being as close to that as possible, even if it's, even like I said, if you're a little bit overweight and you have a low body fat percentage, even if that's the case, if you can keep that going, your chances of being sick are a little bit and even a lot less than someone who's obese or who's overweight and whose organs are being pushed around and smushed together, not giving them a clear path to each body part. It's all about circulation, and this is where in the minority community a lot of information is missed because we just don't get to see it. We don't get to really be in the know as far as the effects of obesity. So today we're gonna spill out some facts, and we're gonna make sure you guys get the knowledge. And first off, this first set is coming from the medical dictionary, free dictionary, medical dictionary on online. So basically, we're gonna go into how. And if you guys want to call in. Like I said, the number to call is 708-223-8953. And like I said, we want to go back and forth and give up some information on what it is to be obese and whether or not you're mild, moderate, morbid, and or not obese at all. Right? So we're gonna go into some facts here, and coming from the medical dictionary, like I said, obesity is basically being overweight or having a huge amount of body fat, 20% or more than what your ideal weight is. We have a caller. Caller, you are on with the fitness report.
Hi, Jabor. This is Deandra. I wanted to comment really quickly about injuries and obesity.
Okay.
So, as you stated before, that it can cause different things to happen in your body. I know for me, I had no idea that gaining weight would mess up my back.
Right.
It threw my spine completely out of line, and by it doing that, that caused me to be completely motionless. Like I could not move, I could not exercise. And being an athlete, it really took a toll on me personally, mentally, and physically,
I
and
bet.
emotionally.
Right.
And I couldn't believe the fact that I'm also 5'8", was obese
Right.
at 200 and like 11 pounds. I'm like, where did this come from? So just to add to your conversation, from my back, it also caused problems with my knees, and as well as my ankles and then my neck.
Yep, which are all, everything's attached. So it's the trickle down effect, like literally.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
So.
it wasn't until I made up my mind to start moving a little bit more every
Right.
day that helped me get to a point where I can move now without pain.
So question for you, Deandra. Seeing that you changed it around, and I know this because I've trained you and we've worked out a lot together. How do you think? What's the biggest difference in how your daughter sees you as far as you being mobile now, when you used to be at a point where you had to basically tell her no when she asked you to do certain things that were physical? How does that feel now?
Let's take it to back then. It used to break my heart that my 3-year-old would make excuses for me to her teachers and to her friends' parents why I couldn't be a part of activities. My mom can't go on a field trip, her back's messed up. My mom can't take me to his birthday party because her knees are hurting. Totally broke my heart.
Yeah, that could be a heartbreaker.
Yeah, so today she's basically telling me to sit down because now we can play together. Now we can be more active, and I feel like I can be an example instead of the person telling her what to do as far as maintaining a healthy life. I can show her what to do because I now have the tools.
Right, and that's what it's all about, the knowledge. So if you can give some advice to anyone out there who's dealing with weight issues or living a sedentary lifestyle, what would you tell them?
There's no time like the present. Just get up and move a little bit more every day. Mine started with counting my steps.
Right.
I was counting the steps from taking the bus into the office every day to trying to walk 8,000 steps a day. That equal to me not taking the bus. So now I'm parking outside of downtown Chicago and walking into downtown Chicago into the office.
That's great. Yeah, you take that walk. That's a nice little walk too.
It's a nice
from the West
walk,
Loop.
I mean, yeah, it starts with just you have to make your mind up to do it differently. Do something different, whether it's your diet or just move a little bit more every day, and it'll just become easier.
Right. Well, we appreciate you calling, and hopefully you continue that lifestyle. And if I have anything to do with it, I'll make sure that you don't go the other way. Thanks for calling, Deandra. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so that's one story. Like I said, Deandra, who eventually started training and really got it together on the physical side and kind of went back into those athletic days. So if you go online to see her now, she's in pretty good shape, and she's come a long way since that, the back injuries and being really weak and not being able to do a lot of things with her daughter. So, great job, Deandra. And all right, now more facts on obesity. All right, we want to let you know that we basically have a calculator, okay? A calculator to let you know whether or not you're obese, okay? So you're gonna go by this acronym that's really huge in the world of health and fitness, and that is your BMI. The BMI is your body mass index, okay? It's basically, to calculate it, you can go online and look. There's 50 ways that they'll try to give you to calculate it, but one of the basic ways is you take a person's weight and you divide it by their height in inches squared, okay? And we use a conversion factor of 703. And this is coming from the Center for Disease Control, and most personal trainers know this also. You use a conversion factor and you times it by that factor, okay? So here's the numbers as far as to tell you whether or not you're healthy, you're obese, or you're even more than that. Okay, so 20 to 40%, Okay, if you're over your body weight, body fat, 20 to 40%, you're mildly obese. Okay, now when you get to 40 to 100% over, you're moderately obese. Okay, when you get to 100% or more over your ideal weight for your height, you are severe or morbidly obese. And when you hear that, that's usually a term that's going to be associated with whatever the doctor's telling you to do next. Okay, whatever recommendations he has is going to be based off what level of obesity you are. Okay, because if you're at a healthy weight and you're having issues, it's probably not going to be based off weight. But when it's based off weight, he's going to give you. He's going to let you know. If he's a good doc or if you got you a good nutritionist or even a trainer, they're going to let you know whether you're morbidly obese, moderately obese, mildly obese, or you're at a good current weight. So you always want to know those things. So if you guys are out there, make sure you check your BMI. Make sure you check to ensure that your body mass index is low. And with that, I'm going to give you the numbers to tell whether or not you guys are within a good range as far as your BMI. Okay, so me, I'm 5'8", and like I said earlier, I'm 195 pounds or so. But since my body fat is low, I'm good. And one way to tell, we want to give y'all some quick info. If I'm 68 inches, my waist can be no more than half that length in inches. Okay, so I can have no more than a 34-inch waist in order to be considered healthy. That's just a quick way to figure out whether or not you have too much going on in the midsection. All right, because when your midsection is out of whack, 9 times out of 10, that's your core. You know that's a huge word these days. Also, your core is very, very important to keep. Not just strong or not just mobile. You don't want to be just able to do things throughout your core or have a strong core. You want to be able to have a trim core also. So if you look at that measurement, which is if you measure it in inches, is usually done at the belly button. If you go to the belly button and you measure that number should not be more than half of your height. If that number's more than half of your height, you're probably considered unhealthy, and it's going to take a lot of muscle and non-fat to be in other body parts in order to make up for that waist, because that waist is usually a telltale of how healthy you are. Okay, so what we want to do now, we want to go to the adult chart and give you some information as far as your BMI and what it takes to have a healthy BMI, what the numbers are. Okay, so we're just gonna give you the example from a person 5'8" to 5'9". Okay, so if you're 124 or less, got a caller. Caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, this is Tiffany from Evanston.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hey, I just wanted to say I was listening to the show and the information that you're giving is great. And, I was morbidly obese and still am obese by the chart and the numbers.
Right.
But when I went to the doctor, I never had any issues. No blood pressure, no back, no joints, no cholesterol, no sugar, no anything.
Right.
But that did not mean that I was okay. So I know that there are probably other people out there that are just like me, like, well, my doctor said that I'm overweight and I could lose some weight, but everything else is fine, so
right.
I'm good. And that's not okay. So I just want to say the number is important and it matters. And the charts may be skewed based on ethnicity and all that other kind of stuff, but
right, which we're going to get into.
40, 50, 100, 200 pounds off that mark and be healthy.
Okay, so since you called in, I got a question for you, Tiffany. Seeing that you lost a lot of weight, and of course you still want to continue to go in the right direction, what do you think would be an indicator for someone who, if someone doesn't have the information that I'm giving right now, if someone isn't privy to the info, what would be a good way for them to maybe know that they might be out of shape, overweight still, even though you got the neighborhood telling you that it's okay to be this weight, it's okay to be that. What do you think would be an indicator for even the average person who doesn't have the information at hand that they might be overweight?
Your day-to-day life. I think because that was the final catalyst for me. I was like, I'm just sick of being out of breath doing basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many people I go to the gym with, or I see in the gym that are much smaller than I am, but they can't do what I can do.
Yeah, we see it all the time.
Out of state.
Yep.
And that should be the driving factor anyway. You should want to feel good. So I would say, examine how you feel. I mean, put yourself to the test.
Right.
Run around the block. Take the stairs. Do other stuff to see how winded you get, and make a choice from there.
Right. And that, you know what? It's funny that you say that, because the thing about that is a lot of these people won't test it to even find out. So as like you're saying right now.
Something about it.
Right. Right, because then you'll know, and you either have to address it through, shying away from activities at all because you don't want to face it, or you'll have to actually do something about it. So it's good that you said that. Hopefully we can get the word out, more and more, that obesity is one of the assisters that are really plaguing America, and hopefully you continue to do your part, and we'll do the same. And maybe try to, beat this thing.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you for calling, Tiffany. Tiffany is the owner of, say it again?
Total Transformation Solutions.
Total Transformation Solutions. Look her up on Instagram at TTW Coach, and also on Facebook and all other social media outlets at Total Transformation Solutions. Have a great day, Tiffany. Thanks for calling.
Thank you too. Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so we were going into basically the numbers as far as adults and whether or not adults are obese or not. The chart, and we want to say for a person, we were going into the height 5'9". So it's pretty much. It's pretty much, height to, to that. It's pretty much based off the weight, height, and the factor. So if your BMI is below 18.5, after you calculate the numbers from the equation that I gave you, and you're 124 pounds or less, that means you're underweight, because you can't have an unhealthy BMI, an unhealthy number, when it comes to being too small also. That's why we want, like in that same military boot camp that I'm talking about, they used to have double rations for recruits who came in that were too skinny. So the guys who were overweight, they had half of a ration, and the guys who were underweight had double the ration. So we get mad sometimes because we are all hungry, and we see this guy coming in, he's got all this food plus cake and plus everything else, and we have just a little that we can use, for just to get by during the day. So just know that. All right, for those, and this is all based off 5'8", 5'9". For those that are, say, between 125 and 168, that's being a normal range. And now it's not based off men and women. It's more based off the weight when it comes to being an adult. It's a little bit different when it comes to childhood obesity because it's more gender and age specific. All right, so 125 pounds to 168 pounds, and your BMI is between 18.5 and 24.9. That's a normal BMI. right? That's what we're all trying to stay within. We're all trying to stay within that numbers. So, personal trainers out there, you know, measure your clients up every so often. I know they don't want to be. I know they don't really care to look at their own numbers, and you can't fight them about it. But if you can, you know, try to measure up your client and see if they're within those numbers, because it helps to know. And there are, you know, ways to really see that, you know, they're in shape and they're healthy. Okay, so 169 to 202 pounds, which is right within the area I am, and their BMI is 25 to 29.9. They're considered overweight, and that's when the whole body fat percentage comes into play. You know, you want to make sure your body fat percentage is low, so that if you are overweight, i.e. bodybuilders, i.e. athletes, and those who really push their bodies to do more while dealing with more body weight, you want to make sure that you keep it in mind that, hey, between 25 and 29 for someone that's 5'9" and weighs between 169 and 200 pounds, that's considered overweight. And, you know, you might want to either trim it down or at least make sure the body fat's low. All right, so we're going to the next level, which is 203 pounds or more at the height of 5'9". Right? At the height of 5'9", if you're 203 pounds or more, or, you know, basically 200 pounds or more, BMI is probably around 30, and you're considered obese. You're considered obese, and you might want to change the lifestyle depending on what you got going on. Depending on if that body fat's high, you know, always check your body fat. You know, the relation between those two things is crazy. Is really a telltale sign of what's to come. And, you know, these are numbers given to you by the CDC, which, you know, pretty much looks to stay up to date on whether or not America is healthy. You know, I wish they would stay up. See, the problem is private business. In private business, you can basically do what you want within the rules and regulations of, you know, the ethics and stuff like that. You know, you really don't have to look out for anyone, because seeing that we're all consumers, we have the choice to buy, to consume, or not to. You know, that's basically our choice. And seeing that we have a choice, we can choose to buy it every day if we want, and eat bad every day if we want, or we can choose not to. So for that reason, and no one's putting us in the guillotine if we don't. You know, America kind of sits back and lets it happen. You know, and it's kind of strategic when it comes to the way we fight it. You know, we don't really want to lessen the business, because the economy is all we got. But we do want to make sure, and, you know, at times, that we don't have detrimental numbers that are just like plaguing society. All right, so once again, we're talking about obesity. This is the fitness representative coming to you. We are on intellectualradio.com live right now. The number to call in is 708-223-8953, and we want to just get your take on what it is to be in shape or out of shape. If you're out there and you're obese right now, and you feel like there's no way to change up your situation, you know, call in. I'm pretty sure you're not alone in whatever you got going on. I'm pretty sure that there's always going to be someone that can relate to your story. So call in. Like I said, the number is 708-223-8953. You can catch us on intellectualradio.com. All right, so what we're going to do right now, we're going to go into even more of an important situation when it comes to obesity. We want to talk about childhood obesity. All right, we want to talk about childhood obesity, and we want to go into what's plaguing the community these days. But before we do, we want to let you know a few things. All right, when it comes to being obese, it's definitely something that's not that every social setting in America is dealing with. It's definitely not. it's definitely based off of not really gender, but the socioeconomical structure of America. Is basically, you know, whoever's at the top of the food chain within the world, they're not as obese as those who are less fortunate, right? And being a melanated male, I think that our neighborhoods, the melanated neighborhoods, all the way from Harvey World uh, to Asia and different parts of Asia, not just the Orient, but Asia in general. And we deal with it more. We deal with it more, and that's just the situation. So it's kind of tied to your economic position and your economic situation in the world. You know, the numbers say, the same CDC numbers will tell you also that for those who graduate college, for those who are in school and get, you know, more education than those who don't, your chances of being obese drop. They drop heavily. And I'm going to give you some numbers. And in this case, you know, a lot of times numbers will not paint the picture. But when you got areas in the city that like I live in, you know, where I live in Lakeview, Buena Park. I'm in Chicago. There's a grocery store almost at every corner. You know, there's a Jewel, a Whole Food, a Mariano's, a Pete's Market, Treasure Island before it closed, another Jewel, and another Jewel. Some 24 hours, the other ones close late. Mariano's. There's a market, at least 6 to 8 grocery stores within a mile of where I live. At least 6 to 8. Those grocery stores offer fast food. They offer hot food that's made to order. They offer, you know, of course, the groceries. They offer fresh produce, fruit, veggies. They offer smoothies. You know, it's basically whatever you want. You know, you have the choice to actually eat however good you want to eat, and not to eat so bad. You know, you can actually go there for dinner. You can actually go there to have a drink. You can actually go there and get food made to order that's fresh from the meat market upstairs and the deli. But what I'm trying to say is there are no food deserts. Now, if I think back as a child, I'm from Harvey, and we didn't have so much of a food desert, but it depended on where you lived. When I lived on 153rd, we had Abuzir, and before that, we had Burcott's. This is going way back for those who are 40 and up. We had Burcott's, and if I lived on 147th, we would go all the way down to, back in the day, it was called I forgot the name of it, but it turned into Fairfield Foods or something like that. But we you know, that was as far away as it would be. And besides that, we had the convenience stores. So when I lived in the hood, so-called hood, there wasn't a grocery store right there at the corner. You know, it wasn't a grocery store when we lived on Halsted. There wasn't a grocery store. We went to the Arabs. We went to the convenience store. We got the bread. We got the meat sometimes, or we would take the bus and go to the actual grocery store. But what I'm trying to say is, it's the same way now. That was 30 years ago. That was 25, 30 years ago, and it's the same way today. There aren't a lot of grocery stores in most melanated neighborhoods, in most Spanish neighborhoods. Even in Spanish neighborhood, you get the markets where all of the Spanish food is, but I don't know that it's the healthiest food. And the reason why I say so is because as far as populations, Hispanics have the highest rate of obesity. That rate is 25.8%. The number goes down just a little bit when it comes to non-Hispanic, melanated, or black people, which is 22%. And then it drops even more, of course, for white America, which is usually in the areas where you do have you know, all of the restaurants and the grocery stores, and it drops way down to like 14%. So the percentage between Hispanics and whites is a staggering 11% drop, and that's uncalled for, and it's all due to what we like to call in the health and fitness industry food deserts. Food deserts. If you go down on the south side, there's food deserts everywhere. You know, they're bringing in a lot of different grocery stores now, and it's really changing, you know, the situation as far as the hood goes, or, you know, the ghetto, or whatever you like to call it. But food deserts are all over the south side, all over the west side. You really got to get in your car and go find you something to eat. You know, being in the neighborhoods on the north side, you really can walk to your food. You can walk to your food, and you can basically choose what you want to eat with a couple of things going on, so that you don't have to spend all your money. You don't have to. Got a caller? Caller, state your name and where you from.
Hi, I'm Giovanni. I'm calling from the south side of Chicago. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Giovanni. How are you?
Hi, good. I just wanted to chime in on your conversation about childhood obesity.
Uh-huh.
And I just feel that a main reason why we are in the state that we are is because, unfortunately, a lot of us Black mothers, we are professionals, and we're no longer in the home to prepare a nice hot-cooked meal for our children.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
we're allowing the grocery stores, right, or the convenience stores or the corner stores to feed our children. And when they're eating these foods, these foods are nothing but processed foods, sugary cereals,
That's true.
A lot of orange juice, and a lot of things. They're eating a lot of refined sugars. And so now they're eating all the sugar before they go off to school, and they're not working it out like they used to. You know, they're not as active as they used to.
Right.
As we used to be.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
Yep. And that's a huge reason the activity level these days among children is just totally dropped. And, you know, a lot of it is due to, you know, technology, and the rest of it is due to, you know, I know when I was a kid, my mom didn't really tell me not to go out when she wasn't there. But you get that a lot these days. You get moms saying, hey, don't go out until I come home. You got to basically stay in the house because she's at work all day, and, you know, she wants to make sure you're safe so you don't get to hang out or maybe go play like we used to back in the 80s and 90s, you know?
Absolutely.
So real quick, Giovanni, tell them your story. I met you recently, and this is a beautiful woman, and she made a definite change as far as her situation with health and fitness. But I want you to tell them a little bit about, like, you know, because if they go online to see you, they're not gonna think that you're attached to what you're about to say. So, you know, give them a little bit of background on your situation and the reason why you look, you know, so good today.
Okay, thank you for asking that question. Well, I'll be 43 very soon, and let me just start here. I have 7 kids, so let's just start there. So
seven kids, y'all.
I have 7 kids, ranging from the oldest is 24, all the way down to 7 years old. And so my whole life, that's what I've been doing, is experience pregnancy after pregnancy after pregnancy. And
Right.
unfortunately, with pregnancy, a lot of times it comes postpartum depression. So I don't think that I've ever gotten out of the depression stage. So around the age of 35, 36, still depressed. I'm like, you know what? I can't keep living like this.
Yep.
Went to the doctor. They said, you know what? Of course, the doctor is always like, if you have a bad doctor, I'll say that. The first thing they want to do is prescribe you some antidepressants before questioning what is your health and your fitness is like.
Right.
So was prescribed antidepressants and was on that for a while. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be stuck taking these pills for the rest of my life. What can I do to take my own health into my own hands?
Right.
So I decided to go out and go into the gym, and I noticed that once I got to the gym, the endorphins kicked in, and it was like I had just popped a pill almost, if you
Right.
will. And it was a natural high that I was experiencing.
Yep.
And so I'm like, no, I love this. And so I was at my highest weight, I was almost about 200 pounds, and I was almost 35, 40 pounds at this moment, and trying to go on further. But my main reason for being in the gym is for my health health,
Mm-hmm.
and it's for my mentality.
Right.
That's what's important to me.
Yeah, so that, yeah, guys, like I said, this woman, when you see her, she's slim. Tell him, how tall are you?
I'm 5'8".
Okay, so she's 5'8", slim and trim. You would never know that she had 7. She looks like she maybe didn't have any at all. So to hear that, and you know, even now, matter of fact, didn't you get a personal trainer certification, or you going for one?
I did. I just got my certification back in May.
Congratulations. So she became a certified personal trainer, and basically put herself in a position to help those out who wants to deal with, you know, what we're talking about today, which is obesity. So we thank you, Giovanni, and hopefully we can work together soon, and you know, and you know, get some people informed on a lot of different health and fitness type things.
Sounds real good. Thanks for having me
All
on
right,
the show.
have a good day.
All right.
Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. It's great to hear when people change their lives and, you know, go into a positive direction with their situation, because it's tough. It's tough. This woman says she had 7 children, which put her with pregnancy, which is in itself a mental situation, and it's gonna turn physical as soon as that second, third month come. Your body changes. Sometimes the first month, you get 3, 6, 9 months, and you're heavier than what you've ever seen yourself. That number looks crazy. You're feeling all of these emotional differences, and then once you spit it out, once it's out, you know, then what? You don't know what to do, and that postpartum kick in, and you really don't know how to handle it a lot of times. So, you know, depression kicks in, and hopefully you got you a good mate, because that's when you need the most support. So to do that 7 times, that's a little bit tough. That's tough. Your body's going through the ringer, and you know, you really want to get back mentally so that you're able to fully address it. All right, so before we're done here, we're going to go into what I feel, like I said, what I feel is the most important, because it's the future. It's our youth. And like Giovanni just spoke on, mothers these days, basically, you know, you guys are doing the bulk of the work. And it's been that way for a while now, for the last, you know, 20, 30 years, even more. You're doing the bulk of the work. You're basically going into life alone with children, especially when you have an only child. You know, fathers aren't around as much as they used to, and, you know, fathers have never really cooked that much. From what I know, some do, some don't, but we haven't been the ones spearheading this whole, you know, activities thing. So when you got moms in the house by themselves, you know, those fears kick in, and you really want it to be safe, and you really want to, you know, handle it in a way that's not, you know, good for childhood obesity. So before we're done, we're gonna go into the numbers real quick, and just to finish up, childhood obesity, that's basically those that are between the ages of 2 and 19. Huge issue in America these days. It's about 18. The prevalence is about 18.5%, and affects about over 13 million children. And just to break that down, that number is about 14%. 14% of the children that are between 2 and 5 are obese. Okay, that number rises when you get up to the 6 through 11-year-olds. That number becomes about 18.4%. And it even goes up further when you get to those that are coming out of adolescent and the childhood days into adulthood. The 12 to 19-year-olds, 20% are obese. 20% are obese. So what we want to do as trainers, as fitness professionals, as healthcare professionals, we want to always make sure that we're in a position to help society. If you're not trying to help society, then you're in the wrong field. All right, so when it comes to this, when it comes to childhood obesity, when it comes to adult obesity, we want to make sure that we're always doing our part in helping. We want to make sure that we're always doing our part in being who we need to be in order to make sure that society gets the most out of us. So today we spoke on it. Hopefully you guys got a little insight on what it is to be obese, what it is to know the levels of obesity. Hopefully you guys want to go in and get more information. Hopefully this has sparked conversation throughout your household. Let your people know, let your family know that it's not okay. Let your family know that it's something that you need to handle immediately before you guys get comfortable and get older. You know, let you guys know that it can be cured, it can be handled. It's not the end of the world. Whether you're a child or whether you're an adult, get out there, get active, start to live an active lifestyle, start to handle yourself in an active way, start to do more. You're not gonna stop eating. You're not gonna get. You might not go get a gym membership, but you got to start living a healthier lifestyle. So my recommendations as the fitness representative, I would recommend that you go get a gym membership. I would recommend that you go get yourself either into a fitness class or go find you a personal trainer and try to go right at it with the issues of obesity. I want you to hit them head on, and make sure that no one is exempt in your family from getting out there and being active. Take trips. If you don't have the money, then walk around the block every day. Do something to fight obesity. And if we can stay the course and continue to fight it, we can stay away from the doctors, we can stay away from the hospital other than checkups, and we can stay away from one thing that's really got us going also, and that's those pills. So we want to stay away from the pills and try to fight obesity. This is the fitness representative coming at you with the fitness report. You can find us on intellectualradio.com, and we're also on iHeartRadio, iTunes podcast. And the next show won't be next week. We're going to take a break because my daughter is graduating from Navy boot camp. I'm pretty sure she's in SIG right now. So we'll see you guys again in a couple of weeks. The Fitness Report brought to you by the Fitness Representative, intellectualradio.com. Peace.